there. Good afternoon. I am going to read you a quick section of my book. I read this yesterday in a Facebook Live, and it brought goosebumps and tears and all this wonderful stuff. So I decided to come back on today and read the same section. I'm sitting outside in the sun. It feels wonderful in the backyard of my Glenwood house. So sit back, grab some tea, and listen, because this is the story of how I found my fetish and fell back in love with me. And it was really the catalyst for all of the great changes in my life. So here we go. Are you living in a way that stimulates your soul, satisfies your mind, and brings you unbridled joy? Or are you living for someone else, managing your existence with just enough happy moments to get you through? When we get naked, remove our masks, our carefully constructed layers of protection, and face our different fears of being judged, of being dismissed, or of not being worthy, we reveal ourselves and to the world exactly who we are inside at our deepest, most authentic core, which may seem terrifying. After all, if we are already afraid of being fully seen, of being rejected for who we are, then why would we expose ourselves further and reveal the tenderest parts of ourselves for all the world to see? Because, as crazy as it may seem, revealing ourselves fully sets us free in the most sacred and divine sense imaginable. It enables us to find a deep sense of meaning, connection, and joy in living that cannot be realized by those who remain covered. Oscar Wilde was right when he said, "To live is the rarest thing in the world. Most people exist, that is all." Living takes both intention and the realization that, like it or not, we are the choreographers of our own lives. Unless we are actively choreographing, it is being done for us. Sitting one out does not pause the music and the dance of life the way we might think. The dance never stops, and unless we actively choose our next steps, somebody else will choose them for us. What do you choose? Are you going to step onto the dance floor and reveal yourself so you can live deeply and deliciously? Or are you going to sit by the wall, hoping that someone asks you to dance? One day, in my weekly boot camp class, a woman mentioned that her daughter has taken pole dancing class. Everybody giggled and oh-my'd, but the words pole dancing class reminded me of the wild abandon I felt as a little girl twirling on the bars at recess. I remember the power and satisfaction I felt pushing myself to learn new tricks, and I suddenly longed to be that girl again, instead of just mom, who always played it safe and who knew exactly what to do. The women continued to giggle about pole dancing. I smiled and I laughed too, but it was only to keep from crying. I don't think I'm unique, or in feeling nostalgic, or being somewhat saddened by the letdown of adult life. We all have times when we put too many expectations on a single moment, and we end up disappointed. My life was pretty darn good. I had mastered my suburban mom role perfectly, and I thought that adequately fulfilling the role of lawyer, wife, business owner, fitness instructor, and friend should be enough. But it wasn't. I had never considered Lora to be a role that also needed filling, so I lived my life feeling more like the manager of it than a participant in it. Finishing class, I came home to tackle my backlog of emails. As I clicked away, a picture caught my eye. It was a tasteful, yet somewhat sexy picture of a woman about my age. It was an advertisement for a boudoir photo shoot done by a team of women. I had never heard of anything like that before. Curious and hoping to find out more, I clicked the Buy Now link. Thank you for your order popped up. My credit card information had been stored for my last purchase. What an expensive and stupid error. Have you ever made an impulse buy or spent way too much money and regretted it the next day? If so, you know exactly how sick I felt. I had just spent $99 on something pointless and embarrassing. What was I ever going to do with a sexy picture of myself? And who was I kidding? I was not sexy. I called the studio in an attempt to cancel, And unable to do so, I decided to schedule the shoot quickly so I could put this whole embarrassing ordeal behind me. The day of my shoot, I packed the kids off to school, shoved some lingerie and heels in my gym bag, and traipsed through the snow in my sweats and boots to my appointment. Feeling stiff, awkward, and really stupid, I allowed the photographer to help me pose, as she explained which angles were good for my body. Before long, we were laughing it up, and I was having a ton of fun. It felt so good to do something outside of my comfort zone that was strictly for me. 2 weeks later, the day of reckoning arrived. It was time to go and see the actual pictures, which I really didn't want to do. I knew that there was going to be a huge gap between the way I thought I looked and the way I actually looked, and I didn't want my fun memory of that day to be destroyed by reality. Arriving at the studio, I was ushered into a private viewing room with a plush couch and a flat-screen TV. They handed me a glass of sparkling lemon water and dimmed the lights, and on the screen in front of me appeared a gorgeous, artistic black and white photograph of a woman. While I loved everything about this picture, I was disappointed that I couldn't just see my own photos and get back home. But something was so familiar about this photo that I looked again. That's it, the lingerie. It was strikingly similar to the one of the outfits I had chosen, except mine wasn't that sheer because it had been a different color. Her shoes resembled mine too, except the realization was staggering. The outfit was similar to mine because it was mine. Those were my shoes because it was me in the picture. Me. I was that beautiful woman, and I couldn't figure out how that could be. Not only did I select a picture that I was happy with, I bought a whole CD of images as well. That simple act of seeing myself in pictures from a totally different perspective made me realize how much I had dimmed my own sparkle and light in order to fit in and to muscle my way through life. How could I have looked into mirrors every day and not seen my own inner beauty and my own soul's light? For some reason, those pictures reminded me of who I really am and empowered me to make myself a priority in my own life, to put myself back on my never-ending to-do list, which meant having the courage to purchase the 3-pack pole dancing class for the price of one coupon that I happened upon shortly thereafter, and confidently driving out of the suburbs and to the urban chic studio for my first class. After parallel parking the minivan, I grabbed my dance bag and hopped out just in time to spot a beautiful young woman in booty shorts carrying a pair of platform stripper shoes slip into the studio. I don't know how seeing that might make you feel, but my heart sank. This was not what I had in mind at all. The urge to flee was so intense that I consciously rooted my feet into the ground to avoid running. Who did I think I was? Visions of Cougar Barbie danced in my head. While I didn't want to subject myself to the embarrassment of being the frumpy mom in pole dance, a class designed for the young, the strong, and the beautiful, I was also painfully aware that if I left now, I might never have the courage to stretch myself again. I took a deep breath and walked towards the door. There were women of all different ages and all different body types milling around getting ready for class. Although many of them wore outfits that left their cellulite and muffin tops clearly visible, nobody acted self-conscious in the least, except me. I was used to hiding my flaws, and here was a whole room full of women wearing short shorts and bra tops, accepting their bodies exactly as they were, while I stood awkwardly in my $100 tummy control yoga pants. Class started, and I couldn't take my eyes off the instructor. You have probably heard the adage, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's very true. Although I was initially shocked by how unperfect her body was, in 10 minutes I was utterly captivated by her confidence and lighthearted sex appeal, and I thought she was one of the most beautiful women I had ever seen. In the fitness classes I take or teach, I'm used to hearing about the things women don't like about their bodies, things they want to change. It was completely different in pole class. The women were wild and beautiful and free in their dancing. They weren't covering their flaws or waiting until they lost 10 pounds before they wore what they wanted, and they were stunningly beautiful in their imperfection. I saw how my desire to be perfect had sometimes limited me, keeping me from the enjoyment and happiness I craved. I was ready to let go and to join these wild women in this beautiful free dance that they were sharing. My tribe was here. They had been here all along. I was the one who had left them in my quest for the next best thing. I closed my eyes in gratitude and I let my soul dance my body. This is how I found my fetish. I was finally home and I was never going to leave again. Thank you for reading with me. If you're trapped at home, yes, the book is obviously available in print, but it's also available in audio and on Kindle. So you don't even have to wait for a delivery, because I know Amazon is pausing some deliveries. And did you like this? If you like it, I'm happy to read more chapters. That's just my favorite chapter, though, because really it was the beginning. It was the catalyst. It was what started the whole thing. So thank you for being here. Have an amazing quarantine period. Stay safe, and I will see you all soon. Bye.